everyone, and welcome to my first attempt on making an analysis and a narration video featuring the most grotesque and dangerous headcanon character I made, the Hydra-Virus. A rather sinister and cold-hearted tyrant of a beast, which threatens not just one, but multiple channels. Before we cover him, let's take a look on the premise of the series and the answer to two questions, which are: is the show and the amazing world of Gumball canonical to each other? And is the series inspired by my Gumball headcanons/ideas? The main premise of the series is that the main channel is being attacked by glitches that ruin each shows and corrupt its residents, aka characters, into mindless monsters. In order to stop that, our protagonist, Pibby, manages to create a team in order to stop the thing that creates the glitches. Now, people have been asking if the show is canonical to Gumball. Personally, I don't think so, and here are my reasons why. Both series have completely different target demographics, Gumball being a children's show and Pibby being a series made for adults. If that's not evident enough, the trailer for Pibby even shows disturbing imagery along with gore. Now, I'm not against showing dark tones in kids media, but if these two are canonical, it'll bring trouble for Gumball's TV movie, which is a bridge to a sequel series. Because of this, I decided to make two different headcanon villains, and different variants of each headcanon characters for both shows. The other reason why I don't think it's canonical to Gumball is the following. There are no evidence stating that the two series are canon to each other. For example, we never see or hear about the Void in the trailer for Pibby. My theory is that these two series replicate the same conflict, but for different target audiences, which isn't a bad idea in my opinion. Despite this, it's fun to imagine what if the two series are connected, and perhaps Pibby will introduce its own version of Rob, preferably a survivor. But that's another topic. The other question came from me, which is Coming On with Pibby, also known as Learning with Pibby, inspired by my Gumball headcanons/ideas, or is it a coincidence? My answer is maybe, but just like with the previous question, we need more evidence that state that. For those who haven't read my ideas for the Gumball movie, later sequel series, the main story is about the world of the show is destroyed by a new type of enemy program, which attack our protagonists, along with other series that air on the channel. They have a manipulating technique, in the form of a poison dart, which with it they can corrupt characters, turning them into monsters, or their slaves in this context. Our protagonists travel to different worlds, including one where protection programs, the Guardians, live. With their help, they manage to defeat the enemy programs, which are a work of a hacker, the true villain of the series. If you had a feeling of déjà vu from this summary, you're not alone. Although it's exciting that they make a series similar to the premise I just said, we still don't have enough evidence. The Guardians are not shown nor mentioned, and the glitches that attack the worlds and residents have similar traits as the enemy programs I just mentioned. They are not technically characters. While we are waiting for the answers to these questions, let's take a look on the one who is the cause of all this chaos roaming on the channel, and the one who became the bane of everyone's existence. For starters, let's take a look on his design. The Hydra-Virus is mostly black in color, accompanied by bright colors, which along with his grotesque looks, creates an uneasy atmosphere for the virus. Usually, we associate bright colors with happiness, warmth, love, spirituality, and nature. But the way how they accompany the Hydra-Virus, they create the opposite feeling, an unnerving experience. As the name suggests, the Hydra-Virus is inspired by the Greek Hydra, but at the same time, he also resembles the Japanese multi-headed dragon, which I simply call Orochi, and King Ghidorah from the Godzilla franchise, which is also inspired by the previously mentioned Greek Hydra and Orochi. Although he resembles these mythical creatures, they at least have features of a living creature, while the Hydra-Virus, on the other hand, doesn't. He doesn't have a skin, organs, or blood. And yes, the worlds that he attacks are fictional. Their characters are still considered as living in their own way, which partly makes the Hydra-Virus nothing like any world have ever seen. He's an embodiment of dread, cruelty, wrath, greed, pride, and destruction, more powerful than any opponent anyone faced. The Hydra-Virus doesn't have a physical body, rather a mask where his head sticks out. However, it's possible for him to shape-shift when it comes to combat. The heads look distinguishable, each having different head shape, eyes, and crests or horns. The only consistent feature the heads have are the teeth, especially their venom teeth, which with it they shoot venom, which at first is bright in color. When it hits the ground or touches someone, it becomes a glitching mass, corrupting its victim or destroying that environment it was sent after. The virus is not seen by others, since he stays in the core of the channel, watching each world burning to ashes. His moves and expressions are although primitive, other times they reflect sadism, anger, and even disgust, lacking empathy towards others, thinking they are nothing but insignificant tools for entertainment and nothing else. The first scene I would make for an introduction of the character would include the first world and characters seeing him. He originates from a mass of glitches, forming each head. As he rides upon the world he have brought up to, he towers over the residents. While they try to fight him off, or run away from him, the heads are smiling wide, revealing their huge amount of teeth, then cackle in an otherworldly voice. For a while, there's a bit of silence, until he releases his venom at the residents. The venom forms into glitches which torn everything else apart and captures the poor characters, turning them into his monstrous puppets as he stares at them coldly. Thus, his raid of this channel has begun. After raiding a few worlds, he managed to find the core of the channel. He takes over it, which allows him to infect other worlds faster without it being noticed by others. He injects the venom into vials to let the glitches spread everywhere. Although the series will mostly focus on our main protagonist's journeying, I'm sure there will be room for the main villain too. As you could guess, he lacks empathy, something that will definitely be challenging for our protagonist, Pibby, to fight him off. Since as we heard in the trailer, she wants to save the world with the power of love, which isn't effective to him. In fact, if there would be an encounter between someone like him and her, not only she would be scared of him, but when she tries to tell him to stop what he's doing, he immediately laughs at her in a maniacal way and tells his views about love to her. He thinks emotions are only illusion in life that makes everyone weak, like a drug.
All of this loss, and for what? To become unstoppable? To rule the world? The world wants peace, and we have the answer. Just let me show you.
Of course, this isn't true, but honestly, what can we expect from a being that was designed to destroy? However, if my headcanons from Gumball are canon to this series in some way, that means the Guardians will be included too. They could first appear in the scene where he makes his appearance. The Guardians take action to evaporate him. His first reaction to them would be the first time ever seeing an emotion that doesn't show sadism, anger, or disgust. This time he shows fear, knowing that they are the only things that can destroy him. Because of the fact that they are stronger than him, he has to stop them, as it's more difficult for him to kill or manipulate them. He decides to capture them with his glitching venom, locking them in a dark prison he had made. Although he managed to capture them, it wasn't an easy thing for him. His fear of them is still in him, which means they are the only things that can stress him out, Because of this, although he constantly teases and mocks Pibby for her beliefs, he doesn't underestimate her. He knows she's technically weaker than him, but she's determined enough to save the channel no matter what. If she finds out about the Guardians, that way they can find the captured Guardians as well. They defeat him once and for all. So in order to stop that from happening, he managed to make her and her crew's journey more difficult, challenging them throughout. This makes him one of those villains who do not underestimate their opponents. The most frequently used and most recognized choice of combat from him. Like the Greek Hydra, he's famous for his venom that can be as destructive as acid. It comes from the head's venomous teeth. They're bright in color, but when they drop to the ground or touch someone, it becomes a glitchy mess that either destroys an environment or corrupts someone, making them his monstrous puppet. Thus, he has the power of manipulation too. When the heads are investigating seemingly empty worlds, searching for survivors like our protagonists, they use a quiet sound in the form of a Morse code, so only they can hear each other in close contact. They scan with their eyes, mostly when it comes to investigation. If they lose one of them, they cannot regrow it, unlike with their heads, though it's difficult to blind him. Rarely, but when it comes to combat, he shoots a bright, flashing beam that annihilates a certain place. But due to needing development to build up, he doesn't use it too often. Another rare choice of combat. For the most part, I thought of a quadrupedal, four-legged, a humanoid, and a flying form. Aside of these, the heads also change sizes from gigantic to worm-sized. Like the Hydra in Greek mythology, he's also capable of regenerating his cut-off heads and duplicating them. The only time this doesn't happen is when a protection program combats with him. Now that we covered his characteristics, you may ask yourself, who or what created this dangerous virus and for what intention? Well, I made one possible origin that can answer it. It may be a work of a hacker. Like the viruses in my Gumball Headcanons, a hacker created him, who has a personal with data on studios in which one of them the person may have worked at previously, before getting fired from that specific studio. But unlike the hacker from my Gumball Headcanons, this one doesn't show up personally in the world of fiction. Instead, their personality and even intentions is reflected by the Hydra-Virus himself, which give us an impression for their possible reason. Why did they created him to take over channels on TV? So, who's the Hydra-Virus? An embodiment of dread, wrath, cruelty, meant to destroy series and creating his own messed up world, with his venom that can turn everyone it touches into his slaves. Destroying something that not only resembles our childhood, but also innocence, joy, and shape us who we are, and turning it into the opposite of it, for the thrill of it. He has a lack of empathy towards anyone he hurts or downright traumatizes, and scoffs at the idea of peaceful coexisting. Despite this, he doesn't underestimate his arch-enemies, like Pibby, who he knows is determined enough to stop his tyranny once and for all. Thank you all for listening to my first attempt on this analysis video. What are your thoughts on the Hydra-Virus? What would you add to his character? Let me know in the comments below. I want to credit the Wild Eyes video series Analyzing Evil for the main inspiration on making this video, as well as the video series Kaiju Profile. Links in the description for both video series. I recommend them checking them out as well. I apologize for not uploading as many content as I used to, at least in the beginning of this year, but for now I'm studying for my finals, and because of this, many of my bigger projects have to be scrapped. so I try my best to get through the most important ones before moving on to the finals, and in the end, probably if I will have enough energy and inspiration, I will work on bigger projects as well. I hope you understood the video with or without caption due to my accent or the quality of the audio itself. I wish you all have peaceful holidays and a happy new year.